Imagine waking up with a knife fused to your arm. Would you grind your own teeth to survive? One Lombard warrior did. Archaeologists found his blade arm and teeth worn down to nubs. Grinding your teeth to stubs, ouch. That's dedication. His shoulder bones actually warped. Imagine flexing so hard you bend your own skeleton. Even his shoulder bones screamed, "I use this blade." But why the knife? The answer's buried with his tribe's wildest secrets, and it's wilder than you think. That arm was always frozen in some jaw-dropping pose. Even the amputation spot was worn down. Wait, non-stop knife action did that to him? So what was the deal with that arm? But why the knife? Turns out, the answer's locked inside his wild tribe. He was a Lombard, a people famous for battle skills. Even back then, Lombards were basically the ancient action movie stars. They practically invented the prehistoric fight club. Maybe he used that knife arm to survive, or, get this, to win fierce showdowns. Maybe that's even how he lost his arm. Now, here's where ancient survival gets wild. Yet somehow, he outlasted everyone's wildest expectations, beating the odds big time. You'd bet he was doomed, right? But he made it to nearly 50. Ancient grandpa status. 50. That's basically prehistoric grandpa status, folks. Wait, here's the twist. He didn't fall to a saber tooth. Natural causes ended his run. A rare, gentle ending after a hardcore stick figure adventure. Almost peaceful, right? Hold on to your spear. What comes next is darker than you're ready for. No joke. It all starts with one shin bone and a chilling fact bomb. This Turkana, Kenya fossil is 1.45 million years old. Imagine holding history. That's prehistoric. Think way before Homo sapiens even showed up on Earth. Scientists agree it belonged to one of our distant, mysterious cousins. Who exactly? Unknown. Which ancient human? No one's sure. Several species were roaming back then. And this bone? It's so demolished, you'd swear hyenas used it as their personal chew toy. But not all marks were animal. Some were human. This wasn't random. Someone made 9 sharp, textbook cuts, totally on purpose. Picture yourself tracing every line. Each cut follows vanished muscle perfectly. You can tell, these weren't guesses. They sliced with surgical skill for max meat. Here's the wild part. This is humanity's oldest proof of prehistoric butchery. Yep, someone got defleshed. Imagine ancient cannibalism with a heaping dose of nightmare fuel. Here's the creepiest part. The mystery doesn't end there. You still have no idea who the victim, or the butcher, actually was. Nobody does. And nobody knows who did the ancient snacking, either. Think about it. Rival species weren't friends. Sometimes, lunch was your own cousin. Honestly, eating your neighbor might have just been Tuesday. Here's the urgent bit. Water here changed fast, faster than your weather app updates. Starvation could hit any second. When food ran out, things got desperate, fast. Now this shinbone. It's so basic, you'd call it the IKEA of fossils. Definitely a chill discovery, pun totally intended. But the mystery's not way less confusing than Rising Star Cave. But here's what'll shock you. The name's wild. Honestly, that's a pretty epic name. But hold on. But here's where your jaw might drop. It gets stranger. The cave hides in Mount Mani Hills. Doom mites of South Africa. Mapped by scientists only since the wild 1980s. Picture yourself, explorers with just flashlights, fueled by curiosity, mapping the unknown. But what nobody expected. They barely scratched the surface before chaos struck. Suddenly, you realize this place is far more dangerous and twisty than anyone guessed. But being in the cradle of humankind, it just begged, but wait, with time running out, an anthropology crew stumbles on the Dinalidi chamber. Inside, human bones. Not just a few. You're looking at thousands, altogether. Over 1,500 bones, 15 people. Imagine that prehistoric party, shoulder to shoulder. And it wasn't just adults. Every age was there. Babies, grandpas. Everyone got tossed into this prehistoric bone pile, no exceptions. This is officially the densest ancient human bone collection ever discovered. In Africa. But here's where things get super weird. Honestly, these bones had no business being here. To even reach that chamber, you'd need wild survival skills. Imagine yourself crawling blind. Pitch-black tunnels swallowing you whole. Now squeeze through a gap so tiny, your phone would panic too. But here's the kicker. You must pose like Superman. No joke. Beat that. Time's ticking, and the next obstacle's even nastier. Clamber over jagged rocks. Then, bam, face another impossible squeeze. Suddenly, a 12-meter drop, like an ancient elevator from nightmares. Survive that? You're basically starring in your own prehistoric action movie. But wait, now you've reached the real secret cave entrance. You don't just stumble in. This took serious guts and determination. Here's the twist. Experts first guessed a giant prehistoric flood did it. But the real shock? Sediment revealed zero flood evidence. None. Turns out, bodies showed up here slowly, over thousands of years. Not just once, this happened repeatedly. So what was really going on? Wait, could a terrifying cave monster explain all this madness? Or maybe a giant predator, basically history's worst roommate ever. But here's the twist. The team found just one odd bone, an owl's. Plus, there were 0 bite marks anywhere. Suspiciously tidy, right? Predators? Crossed off the list. But that left you with an even stranger puzzle. No gnawed bones, no scratches. Imagine finding remains this untouched yourself. Even stranger, the bodies weren't dropped. They seemed carefully placed inside. But why would anyone, especially you, back then, go for this bizarre burial? Enough to stash bodies deep in a mind-bendingly remote cave. Picture yourself. This cave is so extreme. Only humans with ropes and helmets survive entry. So why go through all that trouble? Turns out, the answer was buried there, right next to someone nobody saw coming. You guessed it. What they found was an entirely new species. Meet Homo, a lost human cousin known only from Rising Star Cave's depths. You only know them from this single, secretive, bone-packed cave. But here's the wild part. With all these bones, you can reconstruct their entire body. Shorter, skinnier than you. These humans were tiny, but absolutely unstoppable. But here's the kicker. Their brains were smaller, yet their bodies screamed adventure. Imagine yourself underground. These bodies outperformed almost every other human relative. Picture this. 335,000 to 236,000 years ago. These were your prehistoric neighbors. You'd expect gadgets, right? But their tools? No grappling hooks, just pure grit. Their skulls hint at tool skills, but forget GPS. Nality had 0 climbing tech. But here's the burning question. How'd they get here? The truth is, no one knows how they did. Some think fire torches lit the way inside. Others think they marked their route, like a prehistoric GPS you'd actually follow. But every wild theory so far. Scientists have shot them. Even the big question, did Nality bury the bodies? Still nobody agrees. Tension rising. But what if it gets even weirder? Another species could have dragged them in. Or imagine this. Modern humans carried those ancient bones deep inside. Plot twist. Honestly, if that's true, you've just witnessed the wildest twist yet. But here's what's truly strange. You haven't smashed subscribe if you love this journey. No ropes, no gear. Just hit like if you dare explore. But wait, burying bodies in caves? You're witnessing prehistoric madness. You might argue, but here's what absolutely nobody can ignore. Scientists stumbled on a remote lake, and what they found will haunt you. But here's where you get chills. A glacial lake hides secrets. Locals whisper about a chilling find. An icy lake hiding secrets colder than a blade fused to bone. But why those names that send chills? You're about to enter true prehistoric survival mode. You peer down, and hundreds of skeletons glare up, like history's most chilling group selfie. Over 800 ancient skeletons. Imagine stumbling on that, your pulse racing like you're crawling blind. But this isn't a graveyard. No markers, no order, just chaos frozen in time forever. Bones everywhere, like you've crashed history's most extreme round of pickup sticks. Flashback, 1942. British officers stumble in, panic snapping faster than a frozen tunnel. That knife arm wasn't just legend. It was survival, etched deep into bone and grit. Next time you wake up, remember, grinding your own teeth for survival isn't just history. It's humanity's wild edge. If stories like these make your heart pound, hit subscribe, because next time, we'll crawl through secrets even stranger than a blade fused to your own arm. History's wildest truths aren't buried, they're waiting for you.